All right, so we're diving into something pretty unusual today. Iran's offer to help fight the California wildfires
Right.
back in January 2025.
Yeah.
You probably remember all the devastation.
Oh, yeah.
24 lives lost.
Wow.
Communities like Palisades, Eaton, and Hearst just decimated.
I remember.
Thousands of acres just up in smoke.
Yeah.
And at that point,
It was just,
the fires were still burning out of control.
it was a really dire situation. And then in the midst of all of that chaos, Iran stepped forward with an offer of aid. Now, considering
That's surprising.
considering the strained relationship between the U.S. and Iran, this was a move few saw coming.
Certainly raises some eyebrows.
Yeah.
The U.S. pulled out of the Iran nuclear deal back in 2015.
Right.
And things haven't exactly warmed up since then.
No.
So why this offer?
Yeah.
And why now?
It's important to remember that this wasn't just a random act of goodwill.
Okay.
Iran has a long history of disaster relief efforts, particularly through the Iranian Red Crescent Society.
Okay.
They've been on the ground in countless earthquakes and other crises, both within Iran and internationally.
So they're not just offering, they have experience.
They're known for their swift response, their specialized search and rescue teams,
Wow.
and their experience in providing medical aid in disaster zones.
So they're not just offering, they're actually quite well equipped to handle a crisis of this magnitude.
Exactly. They've got the infrastructure, the expertise, and the manpower to make a real difference.
But even with that in mind, it's still a bold move for a nation that's been largely isolated on the world stage.
That's why it caught so many people off guard.
Great.
This offer challenges the conventional understanding of Iranian foreign policy.
I see.
It suggests that Iran is willing to engage in humanitarian efforts, even with a country it has significant political disagreements with.
It really throws a wrench into the usual us versus them narrative, doesn't it?
It certainly does, and this complexity is further compounded by the personal dimension of this situation.
How so?
Los Angeles has a substantial Iranian diaspora,
Right.
often referred to as ''Ṭerangeles.
I've heard of that.
It's a vibrant community with deep cultural roots and a strong sense of identity.
Yeah.
So this offer wasn't just a gesture from one government to another.
Right.
It was a hand extended to a community with deep ties to Iran itself.
So it's not just abstract geopolitics, there's a very real human element at play here.
Precisely, and that adds a layer of emotional resonance to this whole situation.
I imagine this puts the U.S. government in kind of a tricky position.
Oh, absolutely.
On the one hand, they desperately need all the help they can get to combat these fires, but accepting aid from a nation they're at odds with?
Yeah.
It's got to be a tough political call.
Absolutely. There's the optics to consider, public opinion, and the potential backlash from certain political factions.
Right.
It's a balancing act between acknowledging the dire need for assistance and navigating the complex web of international relations.
And it's not just about Iran, is it?
Yeah, other countries offered their support as well, right?
Yes, absolutely. Canada and Mexico, for example.
Oh, okay.
Both sent resources and personnel to help fight the fires.
I see.
This underscores the fact that despite political complexities, there's a global recognition of the crisis and a willingness to help.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's a reminder that even in times of tension, we're all part of a larger human community.
Right.
And sometimes a crisis can bring that shared humanity to the forefront.
That's exactly what we saw in California.
Yeah.
And to really grasp the impact of this event, we need to go beyond the headlines and delve into the personal stories.
Okay.
After all, it's the firefighters on the ground.
Yeah.
The individuals risking their lives who truly embody this spirit of international cooperation.
Absolutely. I've been thinking about that a lot, actually.
Okay.
Imagine being an Iranian firefighter, arriving in a foreign country to battle a disaster of this scale.
Right.
It must be a truly surreal experience.
It certainly is. Yeah.
Think about it. You're stepping into a completely different cultural context.
Right.
Facing a formidable natural enemy and working alongside people you've never met before.
Right.
It's a testament to their courage and dedication.
It's a powerful reminder that beneath the surface of political differences, there is a common thread of humanity that binds us all together. We all share the same basic needs, the same fears, the same hopes for a safe and secure world.
Exactly. And that shared purpose can bridge even the widest divides.
Right.
To explore this idea further, let's imagine a fictional scenario based on real events.
Okay.
Picture Amir, an Iranian firefighter,
Okay.
arriving in Los Angeles.
Right.
He's greeted by the overwhelming heat,
Oh, wow.
the thick smoke,
Yeah.
the sheer scale of the devastation.
I bet.
It's a far cry from his home in Tehran.
I can only imagine the mix of emotions he must be feeling. Apprehension,
Right.
a sense of duty, maybe even a bit of culture shock.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then he meets Cassidy, a seasoned American firefighter.
Okay.
She's tough, no nonsense, a veteran who commands respect.
I see.
They're both focused on the task at hand.
Right.
But there's an initial awkwardness
Yeah.
as they try to navigate this unfamiliar partnership.
I bet there are some cultural misunderstandings, different ways of communicating and approaching the situation.
Spot on.
Yeah.
For instance, Cassidy's directness might come across as blunt or abrasive to someone like Amir,
I see.
who's accustomed to a more indirect communication style.
Right.
But as they work together,
Yeah.
they start to recognize each other's competence,
Yeah.
their shared commitment to battling the blaze.
It's in those moments of intense pressure,
Yeah.
facing a common threat,
Exactly.
that their conversations start to shift.
Cassidy might ask about Amir's life in Iran,
Oh, okay.
and he'd open up, sharing stories about his family, his
Yeah.
experiences as a firefighter back home.
I imagine those conversations would reveal a lot about their shared values, their motivations for doing this dangerous work.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Amir might describe the sense of unity he feels with his fellow firefighters, regardless of their backgrounds. They're all connected by this shared purpose of protecting lives and property.
Right.
Cassidy, in her own way, would echo that sentiment.
It's about more than just fighting fires, isn't it?
Precisely.
It's about protecting communities. It's about a sense of duty that transcends borders.
And as they continue to work side by side,
Yeah.
their initial awkwardness melts away.
Okay.
They develop a rhythm, a synergy, a shared understanding that transcends language barriers.
There's a sense of trust that builds, forged in the heat of the moment, as they rely on each other to survive.
And it's not all serious and intense.
Right.
I'm sure there are moments of shared laughter, maybe a joke about cultural differences, or a simple gesture of camaraderie that strengthens their bond.
Those little moments of human connection are so important, especially in a high-stress environment like that.
They are. And what's truly remarkable is that this story,
Yeah.
while fictionalized,
Right.
reflects the real experiences of countless firefighters who put their lives on the line every day.
Yeah.
Their courage, their camaraderie, their unwavering dedication to helping others is truly inspiring.
Yeah, it really does make you think about the potential for human connection.
Yeah.
You know, even amidst chaos and uncertainty.
It does, and it brings us back to the broader implications
Right.
of Iran's offer to help fight the California wildfires.
Okay.
You know, this wasn't just about putting out fires.
Right.
It was a powerful act of human solidarity, a recognition that in times of crisis, we have a responsibility to help one another, regardless of, national boundaries or political differences.
It certainly challenges our preconceived notions about international relations. It suggests that perhaps there's more room for cooperation and understanding
Exactly.
than we often realize.
And it raises so many questions about the future.
Yeah, like what?
Could this shared experience, this act of cooperation, lead to more meaningful dialogue
Right.
between the U.S. and Iran?
Yeah.
Could it be a catalyst for a shift in their relationship?
It's hard to say for sure, but it's certainly a development worth watching closely.
Right.
Even if it doesn't lead to a major political breakthrough, it still stands as a testament to the power of human compassion
Right.
to transcend political divides.
Absolutely. And while the story of Amir and Cassidy is fictional,
Right.
it speaks to a larger truth
Okay.
about the potential for human connection despite their cultural differences, the pressures of the situation.
Right.
They found common ground, they learned to trust and rely on each other,
Yeah.
ultimately working together to achieve a common goal.
It's a reminder that even in the face of seemingly insurmountable differences, there's always the possibility for understanding and cooperation. Sometimes it takes a crisis to bring that to the surface.
That's a really insightful point. It makes you wonder, what can we learn from this experience? Can we as individuals and as nations build on these moments of shared humanity to create a more compassionate and understanding world?
It's a question worth pondering because ultimately it's these acts of kindness, these helping hands extended across divides that remind us of our shared humanity and our potential to build a better future together.